Jonathan Jones here at the NFL Scouting Combine. This is our last head coach interview at long last. Feels like you waiting to be a head coach, and now here you are at the end. Brian Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. I hope you didn't have to wait that long, because it was a long time, a long journey, and many stories. But happy to be here.
I'm very happy that you're here. Happy for you. Congratulations on the gig. We were just talking off air about, I see a few tattoos you have. Tell me about your most important one.
Yeah, so my son and he wanted to get a tattoo about 3 years ago, and I was like, if you're going to get one, maybe I'll go with you and try it out. And I got my first one, and for people that don't have them, they're addicting.
Yeah.
You get one, you start thinking about what the next one is, but probably my favorite one is on my wrist here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I call it my life license plate. So it's Tennessee, which is home, and then my wife's birthday, and then my son's birthday and my daughter's birthday. So I have it there, so if I'm watching film, usually I got my hand laying on the desk, I can kind of see it, and it reminds me that no matter how good things are or how bad things are, that I'm grounded with that life license plate.
I like that. Had you heard of that before, or did that just kind of pop up in your head?
No, actually, last summer, truly the first day of summer vacation, my son picked me up at the airport. I flew back to our home in Tennessee, and we were talking about tattoos.
Yeah.
And he was talking about what he might want, and he was driving, and we were following a car, and literally I saw a license plate, and it had Tennessee on it, obviously. And the thought came to me that, like, okay, well, what would my numbers be? And I started thinking about important numbers to me, and it just kind of became very clear to me. And so I think it was not a day or two later that I was there getting it put on.
That's awesome. Was just over listening to you talk at the podium with other media, and you mentioned something. Obviously, you used to work with Pete Carroll, and you had mentioned how he called you back in 2017 when you were with Indianapolis, and you still had his number saved because you had his number from 2001. Brian, how did you have a number saved in your phone from 2001? Did you not? How many numbers do you have saved?
Well, quite a few, obviously. In this profession, you need to have them because you never know when you're going to need a job. But the part of the story I didn't share, which is actually pretty cool, was when Pete came into USC. I was coaching the tight ends there for Paul Hackett. Paul got fired. Pete came in, and we talked. And he literally was like, Brian, I'd love to try to find a way to keep you, but at this point I can't guarantee you that spot. And I said, okay. I said, I understand. And he said, I've kind of promised a job to somebody really close to me, their son. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm a coach's kid. Well, if you can imagine, Pete and Monty Kiffin were very, very close.
Yep.
And so the new tight end coach at USC was none other than Lane. And so I think that's kind of a cool part of the story. I ended up going to Washington to work for my dad, and Lane came there to work for Pete.
You are it's so clear, a football historian, obviously with your pedigree, but the amount of time and preparation and effort that you have put into being ready for this moment. What is it going to look like for you on, not even yet to the sideline, but when we get into when the guys get back, right, for OTAs, when they're there for voluntary work, when we get to training camp, what are you going to be like as a head coach that you didn't have the opportunity to be in your previous roles because you weren't the guy?
I honestly don't think I'll change a whole lot. I'm very authentic. I'm very humble. I'm a high-energy guy. I'm passionate about the game, the fact we get to coach and play a game on grass where literally you're allowed to throw your body around. I don't think I'll change. I think if I'd say anything, just maybe some of the conviction of things where, okay, this is how we're doing it, whereas in the past it was like, well, hey, I really think we should maybe do it this way or that way, and whoever the head coach was wanted to do something a little bit different. But I'm a huge culture guy, man. I believe in people. I love people. I think I'm an incredible connector. I love to get to know people and their story. That's one of the best parts about being here in Indy, doing these interviews, is you're hearing some incredible stories from these young men that have done so many incredible accomplishments, but most people have no idea the trials and the things that they had to come through. And so that's something that's so important to me, and that will never change. I am who I am, and good or bad, I want to stay consistent, but it's going to be exciting.
You talk about doing things your way. Are you going to ask Jerry to put up some blinds at AT&T Stadium?
Really? We're doing that in my first combine as a head coach. You're going to ask about that. I think we've answered that question last year a little bit. But it's a beautiful stadium.
It is a beautiful stadium. There's no doubt about it. How's Dak doing in his road to recovery?
Doing great. Talked to him today. Actually just called to check in. Had another issue I need to talk to him about, and he's doing great. You guys know him. The way he works is he's certainly, I haven't asked him this. I'm sure he's ahead of schedule.
Sure.
That's the only way he knows to do it. But I think he's really excited about the staff we've put together, as all are the guys. I mean, my big thing that I try to do, Jonathan, is I walk the halls, man. You know, I want to be seen. I want to be around. I don't sit up in my office. There's certainly 1,000 things I could be doing, but I want to be around the guys, and I want to go talk to the guys in the training room. Just say hello. Just check in. Talked to a couple guys last week that just got back from the Super Bowl and just kind of how that was. And but our players are excited. They know what we're capable of doing. They know what's coming, and I think that fires me up.
You were such a culture guy. That's what I've heard about you for a while. Does culture? This is a philosophical question. Does culture breed winning, or does winning breed culture?
It's a great question. I think you start with culture, because I think when you get people aligned, that breeds winning. Because there's going to be tough days. There's going to be tough games that, quite honestly, you don't play very well and you're going to lose. It's the National Football League, and if the culture's not right, I think it makes it a lot harder to overcome those difficult situations and stretches. I know, DQ and I are obviously very close.
Sure.
And he and I talk, at least once a week, and they experienced that a little bit this year in Washington. And what an incredible year they had, but they had some tough roads, and the fact that the culture was right, and DQ's so amazing at that they were able to withstand that, and they finished strong and went on to have the type of year that they had.
Part of culture is making sure that you take care of the guys in the locker room who have earned their deals. And Micah Parsons, obviously, I know that you don't control the purse strings. We don't have to get into where things stand, because that's not a question for you. However, the last couple of years, this has been a team that some contract issues have lingered, and they've gone on a little bit into camp and past camp. How nice would it be to have this sewn up as early as possible for you, for the culture that you're trying to embed here?
Yeah, I think, it's a great question. It's a fair question. Each negotiation is different, right? They're all different. There's got to be a mutual agreement amongst the parties. Sometimes that takes time. We all have egos in this business, sure, myself included. You probably as well.
You're right.
I don't know you well enough.
That's right. I have an ego.
Yeah, okay. But again, look, at the end of the day, the main thing is that when we get people done, when we get them on board, when the contracts are signed, again, the culture and the people and the relationships that we're going to build will be so strong and so powerful. It doesn't mean it's all, always, perfect and fun and happy. There's going to be hard conversations. That's, I think, a strength of mine is I'm not afraid to have hard conversations. I believe that's being an elite communicator, is to have the hard conversations. And but again, if you had a crystal ball and you could say, oh, if we had it done by this, it'd be amazing, of course. But at the end of the day, these things in the NFL with the big business that we're all involved in is it's complicated at times.
Last question for you. The Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, typically every year one considers them the standard. Okay, they went to the mountaintop and they summited that. How far away would you consider your group, the Dallas Cowboys, from summiting that same mountain?
I think we're close. I really do. Again, I think there's things that we need to do better, that we will do better.
Like what?
Taking care of the football offensively, getting back to generating more turnovers. I mean, really, I'll just tell you kind of our football, mantra. I mean, at the end of the day, it starts with winning the turnover battle. I come from a father that won 200 games basically doing that, protecting the football and taking it away. We're committed to owning both sides of the line of scrimmage. I think, your offensive and defensive line, they set the mindset for your football team, and that won't change. I really believe in, attacking with your playmakers. We've got some incredible playmakers. CD's an incredible playmaker. Mike is an incredible playmaker, amongst others. And the last one is be multiple. But in being multiple, what you have to do is be multiple based on what you do well. And those are the things that we don't maybe know today, because there's still holes in the roster that we're trying to figure out how the puzzle all fits together. But the best part of this league is truly any team can win it.
Yep.
And when we get back to work here in April, that's going to be the goal. I don't shy away from talking about that goal. I mentioned that in my press conference. We want to win the World Championship, and otherwise, why would you do it?
I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, Brian Schottenheimer.